О, подожди. Alright guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome to Survival Russia. So today we're going to take a look at the Yamaha TW200 because on my most recent trip searching for this meteor crater lake out there, I asked you guys if anybody wanted to see the review and what can we say, the modifications I've done to it, the modifications which are coming up on the little TW200 there. And a surprisingly big amount of you guys in the comment section anyway said, yeah, show us the bike, show what you did and tra-la-la-la. So that's what we're going to do today. This is most likely not going to be a super short video because I could see there's also some guys considering buying a TW200 and some guys who actually are buying a TW200 and so on. So I'm going to try and do my best to explain you guys what's the pros and the cons on the TW200 basically, because all bikes have pros and cons, of course. What makes me an authority on motorcycles? Nothing really, but I've driven my fair share of dirt bikes and motorcycles and so on. So I certainly know how to ride, and I certainly know something about riding off-road and something about bikes and mechanics in general. We will get into me and riding bikes a little bit later. But what have I been riding? I've been riding everything from small 50cc bikes up to the Kawasaki, the legendary Kawasaki KX500. As I said, I've been riding the small 50cc's on tracks and so on. I had a Suzuki RM125. Then of course I had the legendary KX500, which is a power monster. And then I had a Kawasaki KLR650. It weighs 127 kilos. Which is not super light. It's not that heavy either. As you can see me crashing a few times out there. I have no problem getting it up from the ground at all. That was not so awesome. But it's a light bike. But that's what happens. I had many questions about what's the mileage, what's the range and so on. I think the tank is about 6 liters, and I think this is going to be in miles actually, because this is something I picked up from YouTube. I think the range is about 160 miles or something. I'm not really sure. Small engine there, 196 cc's, which is about 200 cc's, right? I think the tank is 6.2 or 6.3 liters. The engine there holds 1 liter of oil. The oil I'm using for this little bike is this Motul 5100 4-stroke 10W40. This is going to be a little bit important when we're going to talk about the clutch later and the clutch modifications that I have done to this little guy here. So why is this Yamaha TW200 an awesome wilderness bike? That's because it's not too big, it's not too heavy. It has a really low gearing. This is where the TW200 is super awesome. The low, very low gearing, especially first and second. You can just crawl over stuff relatively. You can already see I lined up some tires. So that's going to be for you guys who want to buy a Yamaha TW200. One of the not so awesome things about the Yamaha TW200 is it has really funky wheel dimensions and tire dimensions. This big fat tire here is 180, 180 and 14 diameter rim. It's a very wide tire, as you can see. And you don't have many choices from getting tires for this little guy here, especially the rear wheel tires. That's why it came with this Carlisle ATV tire. But in my humble opinion, it's a really bad idea to use them. It's actually made in the USA, this Carlisle tire here. There's awesome traction on it. You can see the profile here, right? It had really great traction. But the thing about it is that the maximum pressure is 7 psi or 45 kPa, but 7 psi, that's not a lot. And the bead here is simply not made for a rim like this. I showed that when I changed out the tires. The bead is completely different, and in order to seat the bead, you have to inflate the tire to at least double the pressure, right? About 90 kPa or 14, 15, 16 psi, which the tire is not made for. I've seen on YouTube guys blowing up 3 tires before they could put one on. And then when you have it on, you don't know if it's damaged or not, right? This is just my opinion. I know many guys will say, yeah, but I can easily drive on, and I've done it for years and years. Fine. I would not do it. That's why I changed to the original tire, which does not have as good traction as the ATV tire there, unfortunately. Front tire. This was the old front tire, which looks pretty fine. It's in good condition, but it's actually a rear tire, rear wheel tire. This is the new one. This is also a rear wheel tire. Rear wheel tire. It's a Michelin Starcross. As you can see, the original, or not the original, the one I got with it, is 120 times 118 inches. 18 inches is also a little bit funky for front wheel tires actually. It's more common to have 18 inches as rear wheel tires and 19 or even 21 tire in the front. So I'm actually driving with a rear wheel tire at the front. But it's a small rear wheel tire and it's soft, and the Michelin is much lighter. This Pirelli Scorpion MX weighs 10.2 kilos. That's plus 20 pounds. This tire here was horrible, and when inflated, it's so wide that when you're driving in the mud, it's like driving through a wall. Dirt bikes have relatively slim front tires, right? So that was not great. The Michelin weighs about 6 kilos and is much slimmer, and it helped a lot powering through the mud and stuff like that out there. And it has better grip. Let's dive a little bit into the mods. I mean, yeah, there's a luggage thing that I have not made. This, the guy who had it before me, my buddy, he made it himself. Works fine. But I changed out the handlebars here. These are Renthal Handlebars, made in the UK. These are really strong double-walled handlebars. I think this is the Windham model. You can see I changed out the grips. These are grips you do not need any grip glue for. You see we have a little Allen screw there. The grips are made by EMIC. I also changed out the original clutch because it was broken up here. The clutch lever, this is a Moose Racing clutch lever, quite awesome. And recently, like 300 kilometers ago or something, I actually changed out the clutch on this guy. This was, I think anyway, the original clutch. And I noticed when I was driving on the highway and on the road out there, right, that in 5th gear there's only 5 speeds in this guy here, 5 gears. When I was giving gas from like 60, 70 in the 5th gear, it would kind of, the clutch would slip a little bit, so my suspicion were that the clutch was worn and that the clutch springs, there are only 4, and the clutch springs were a little bit worn out as well. So I changed out to this little guy here. EBC clutch, the DRC kit, what is it called? Let's have a... No, but this is anyway motocross and ATV used DRC series, yeah. However, I'm of course also a member on the TW200 forum, and I will link to the TW200 forum in the description, I'm pretty sure I will. So if you have one, and you're not a member, or if you want to buy one, then go and join the TW200 forum. And hello to Jersey Jeeper, if you watch this video here, which I have suspicion that you will. Anyway, I read on the forum that anyway one guy, he said that the EBC clutches here, he had an experience where he was driving like 30 kilometers or something, and the clutch friction thingies here, they simply just went into mud. I don't know what the problem was. Maybe he used not so great oil for it, maybe he used the wrong oil and put in too much, or maybe he just got a bad clutch or something. Anyway, when I bought the EBC clutch, I also bought these Barnett. I'm not affiliated with any of these companies, by the way, but I just want to show what I'm using, right? So I bought these Barnett friction plates, and these are Kevlar plates. They should be pretty awesome. And since everything takes a long time to get here, then I ordered these guys together with the EBC kit. So in order, if I got the EBC kit that also turned into mud, then I will have some awesome friction plates. If you want to get some of these, then we have the specs here, the parts number, and all that good stuff. One of the funkier things is Footpegs. Very small, very small. That's one guy actually commented in the section, what about larger Footpegs? And I knew immediately that he knew something about Yamaha TW200. These are not big. These Footpegs is actually from the PW50, which is a kid's bike, 50cc kid's dirt bike. I don't know what the hell went into the minds on the Yamaha, why they use these pegs there. I have no idea. But I of course have I of course want to change out the pegs. As far as I know, there are not many Footpegs which directly can be mounted on the TW200. I think I read something about some Kawasaki Footpegs works and tra-la-la-la-la. Anyway, I bought these Footpegs here. We'll compare in a little bit. They are much larger. These are from RFX. RFX makes good stuff. And yeah, they are studded. Studs can be changed and stuff like that. But they of course do not fit. I hope it goes on the cam. But the angle of the bracket there, it fits. It has the same gradient, so to speak, right? And here you have what real Footpegs look like and what Yamaha TW200 Footpegs look like. That is not awesome. I bought these WR450 Footpegs because they fit another Yamaha, and I expected the angle on the bracket there to be the same, and it is. So what are we gonna do? I have a few choices here. The angle on the Footpeg brackets are fine, so I have two choices. Is to cut off the old brackets and make some new ones and then weld them onto the frame mount, right? I'll show you fast. This is the frame mount. So I could cut off this stuff here and yeah, simply just weld a new bracket on. I could of course also just grind off a few millimeters of this tube here, which I actually think I will, and then I have to drill out the holes in the brackets there, because this is a 10mm hole and down there is an 8mm hole. There should be meat enough for it, and if it doesn't work, then I just have to cut the mount off, right? But we will see what I'm gonna do, because I want some decent Footpegs. So what else have I done? I've changed the front sprocket and the rear sprocket on the drivetrain there, right? And the chain, of course. So the old chain was also a D.I.D chain, but it was a D.I.D chain without any O-rings. This is an X-ring chain. X-rings, they're just a little bit, you can say, a modified, advanced O-ring, basically. Basically it's an O-ring, just looks a little different. It should be better. This is by far not a cheap chain, but I could not get the ordinary O-ring chain from D.I.D, so I just bought the the X-Ring 428 because it has 122 links, which is exactly what fits the Yamaha TW200. The old chain was a little bit worn, and you know when the chain rattles a little bit, you can hear it doesn't sound well. But when we were driving during spring, right? You remember, some of you anyway, when we were driving, 2 guys on motorcycles and 1 guy on the mini crawler, 18 kilometers south. Down to the little river there and camping and all that good stuff. The links, they simply filled up with mud and sand, so the chain got extremely tight, super tight. The chain was camming over on the front sprocket. It was not good, and that's also one of the reasons I changed it, because it was not in the best condition. A great thing about the height of the bike here is that it's ideal to dog walk on. If you don't know what dog walking is on a dirt bike, then I'll show you a little bit of a footage here that I made out in the woods. And dog walking is actually pretty awesome when there's no traction. There's nothing else to do. There was this one guy telling me that I just have to stand up and give it throttle and so on. Doesn't matter when you're in mud like this, right? And it's clay, because you can just stand up and boop, 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 boop. Let's see if I can hold the balance on this guy here actually. But anyway, you just stand up and then you have to dog walk anyway, right? This is about the ground clearance that you'll get on the TW200. It's not too bad. It's also not a lot. I think the travel on the forks are about 6 inches, which is also not a lot. And I've seen many guys that try, and they're mounting different forks from, I don't know, Suzuki 650s and whatnot, and all sorts of funky stuff. But on the Yamaha TW200, I think I bottomed the fork out once, and I think it's not really needed. I mean, then just buy another bike. I mean, if you buy a Yamaha TW200, this is what you get. You're gonna get a bike which can drive about 90 kilometers an hour, 100 kilometers an hour. Whoa, it's not that powerful. It has 16 horsepower, right? But it has really low gearing, so you can crawl over stuff and so on. It's really awesome, in my opinion. And that's what makes it great for especially single rider wilderness bike, because as I said, out here you don't really need that much power and speed. You just need to get there and you need to get back again. KX500, for example, out there in the woods, it's not an awesome bike in the woods because it's a very tall bike, right? You cannot dog walk on it, and it's lighter than this bike actually. Not a lot, but it's lighter. But it will be completely crazy to drive out here with a KX500. No way. So I kind of think that I covered what I wanted to cover, and this is most likely gonna be a little bit long video. But yeah, for you TW200 enthusiasts and coming enthusiasts, I want to do this video anyway, just to throw in my 2 cents on what this little bike there is all about. Lots of spare parts, not too many choices on tires and stuff like that. That is not so great. Footpegs, very small. You have to modify them, in my opinion, because they're not awesome. I mean, you can use them, but standing up and riding for a while, especially if you're not using enduro boots or motocross boots with a very stiff sole and so on, then it's not comfy. It's gonna dig into your foot pretty well, I'll say. So yeah, I think that's it basically. So guys, please check the links in the description. Please consider supporting the channel and all that good stuff. And until next time, get out and train, get it done, do something awesome. And see you in the next video, guys. Thank you very much for your time.